Hello everybody, and thank you very much for joining me. My name's Andrew, and really I think I should start by explaining a little bit about myself before I go into any great deal about great deal of detail about the actual channel that I'm looking to build today. Um, so, I'm a 31-year-old male from the United Kingdom. I was born and raised here. I was born in a small place called Swindon. My parents were both military serving individuals. My mother left the army shortly after me being born, as that was uh, the norm when I in 1984 when I was born. My father stayed on and continued his military service. If I'm not mistaken, just off cuff, I think it was for another 8 years. I was moved around from pillar to post, as you can imagine, in respect of that, until my father left and I moved to Wales. I lived there for a few years and then came back to England and was raised in south east London, a very multicultural area called Lewisham. So, really, I mean, I can honestly say that I was raised with pretty much every race, creed, colour, and religion that you can imagine, from Sikhs to Hindus, Christians to Muslims, blacks, whites, Asians, Chinese, Buddhists, anything you can imagine, really. I went to a school in Eltham, which is in southeast England, and again, very much a melting pot. Come from an impoverished background, essentially, so I mean, the estate I grew up on was very, very poor. We didn't have a great deal. I mean, I'm not going to go into detail. I'm not going to give you the whole victim thing there. It's irrelevant. I joined the army at 16 after leaving school, a year and a half earlier than that. Um, but yeah, I joined the army at 16 and I served for several years. I started my military career with the Royal Logistics Corps. After getting close to leaving basic training, I decided that I wanted to be a combat soldier and joined the Second Royal Tank Regiment. I won't go into great detail about my military service because, frankly, it's irrelevant and it's none of your business. So, I will go into detail about certain things in regards to military history if it's relevant to the subjects that we're talking about, though. So yeah, that's a little bit about me. As I say, I would like to explain a little bit about the channel now. Um, as we all know, we live in an incredibly strange time at the moment. We have feminists that apologise for blatant acts of misogyny from Islamists. I'm sorry, no, I'm not going to use the word Islamist because that's the status quo. Let's be honest with each other. There is a pervasive culture within Islam, be it moderate Islam all the way through to what we would deem as radical Islam, really. And this is essentially what the channel's going to be focusing on, really. Islam as a whole, and and the support structures that sit around it, really, in the West. I think that's the most important thing that we really need to get at. There are these huge support structures that sit and coddle this religion. Um, will defend it to the hilt, regardless of the atrocities that are committed by the said religion. As you can probably see on the screen here, I'm on a website called religionofpeace.com. It's an incredibly good tool to sit down and look through. As you can see, currently I'm on the homosexuality page. So let's just have a look at this. I'm going to keep the video fairly short, but I just wanted to run through a few Quranic verses with you and a few of the hadiths that actually relate to homosexuality. Rightio. So, what does Islam teach about homosexuality? Really, is the top of the line there. I'm going to read it verbatim for you to start with, and then we can go into any detail and obviously any discussion that needs to be had can had in the comments. I really appreciate any feedback in regards to what I'm saying here. If you feel I'm wrong, or if you feel like I'm being unfair to Islam, please do go ahead. But I think, especially in light of recent events over the last few days, and not just the last few days. I mean, look, let's be honest with each other. Jihadi report from June 4th to June 10th, 2016. There's been 53 attacks, 401 people killed, 412 people injured, 7 suicide blasts across 16 countries. It's a really depressing statistic, guys. Islamic terrorists have carried out more than 28,589 attacks since 9/11. So since fucking hell, I just it's really difficult to even sit here and have a conversation without having some sort of emotional reaction to this. That's 412 people that have been killed in the space of 6 days. 6 fucking days, ladies and gentlemen. There's wars that have happened that haven't lost that. Oh, sorry, excuse me. Sorry, military conflicts that have happened that haven't had that sort of casualty rate during them. Yet the religion of peace, as it's so called, has committed 401 murders in the last 6 days. So anyway, I'm sorry, I'm digressing, and I don't want to be bouncing back and forth. So, as I said, we're going to go through the Quran's reasoning, the verses, for its distaste in homosexual men and women. So Quran, I can't read this because I'm not a thing, so I'm just going to say Quran, and there's some numbers that you can see there. Look, there's some numbers. For ye who practice lusts on men in preference to women, ye are indeed transgressing beyond bounds, and we rain down on them a shower of brimstone. Now, I appreciate Christianity's probably got a very comparable verse in regards to this, and we'll have a look at it in a second. But we can see where we could. I mean, already we can see the start of the disdain for homosexuals. I mean, this particular picture here, as you can see, is a poor soul being tossed from the top of a building, who's probably going to get stoned to fuck while he gets hit the moment he hits the floor. So again, we have another verse here. Will ye commit abomination such as no creature ever did before you? This verse, sorry, I'm not going to go into a great detail about this side of things here. I mean, you guys can all read that there. Of all the creatures in the world, will ye approach males and leave those at whom Allah has created for you to be with your mates? Nay, ye are people transgressing. I'm sorry, I don't read like a 13, like someone from the year 800. Right. If two men among you are guilty of lewdness, punish them both. If they repent and amend, leave them alone. Right. And otherwise, interestingly, the same rules don't seem to apply in paradise. This is what I find quite interesting as well. Now, I've already read through this, but this is the bit I wanted to get at, essentially, in regards to this. Right, so interestingly, the same rules don't seem to apply in paradise, where martyrs for the cause of Allah enjoy an orgy of virgins of perpetual youth. So, it's another Quranic verse here, otherwise known as boys, bluntly states, and immortal boys will circulate among them. When you see them, you will count them as scattered pearls. Technically, the mere presence of boys doesn't necessarily mean sex, which it doesn't. However, it is strongly implied from the particular emphasis on their fucking and they will circulate. Sorry, and they will circulate them from all around, and they will circulate from all around them for service youths delicate in demure of their own, as if in terms of their beauty and immaculateness they were hidden pearls preserved inside shells, because when a pearl is inside, it is better than the one that is not. Right. I'm going to be completely honest with you, it's really difficult reading it. But obviously you can get to see that this is essentially where this side of things comes from. Although there's this strange double standard, this strange dualism that once you get to heaven, it's irrelevant. And again, and we can look at the alcohol, the stuff on alcohol again at another time, which again relates exactly to this. In heaven, fucking boys and fucking girls is irrelevant. It doesn't matter then. Once you get to heaven, as long as you live a wholesome life during your lifetime, everything's hunky dory as such. So it's just so odd. Rightio. So here's some hadiths and seerahs. There are several lesser hadiths stating if a man comes upon a man, then they are both adulterers. If a woman comes upon a woman, they are both adulterers. When a man mounts another man, the throne of the god shakes, and kill the one that is doing it. Also kill the one that it is being done to. So these are lesser hadiths. From what I read and from what I'm looking at across the Quran, I'm the vast majority of the way through the Quran now. I'll just explain. I'm getting through the hadiths as we're seeing. Um, it's very difficult with the hadiths because there's so fucking many of them. There's just fucking hundreds of the fucking things, ranging from sort of 4 or 5 line stories through to sort of like full chronicled encounters of Big Mo. So yeah, there's a lot for me to get through, and obviously I'm hoping as I go through this series it's going to become a lot easier for me to give you direct information. But as I said at the beginning, I'll always have references up on the screen and obviously link there for you as well. Right, let's get to the more major hadiths for you. So this is Abu Dawud, and that's number 4462. The Messenger of Allah, peace and blessings be upon him, said, whoever you find doing the action of the people of Lut, execute the one who does it and the one whom it is done. To the one to whom it is done. And again, same incredibly lovely gentleman. If a man who is not married is seized committing sodomy, he will be stoned to death. And again, Bukhari, again, if I'm butchering these names, I apologise. The Prophet cursed effeminate men. So, sorry, let me just stop there. The Prophet cursed effeminate men. Those men who are in the simulated assume the manners of women, and those women who assume the manners of men. And he said, turn them out of your houses. The Prophet turned out such and such a man, and Umar turned out such and such a woman. So the Prophet cursed effeminate women. Those men who are in the simulate assume the manners of women, and those women who assume the manners of men. And he said, turn them out of your houses. The Prophet turned out such a man, and the Ummah turned out such a woman. Whoever is found conducting himself in the manner of the people of Lot, kill the doer and the receiver. And again, another one, not contradicting each other. These are sort of reaffirming each other, really. And again, the reliance of the traveller, part 17:2. May Allah curse him and who does what the people of Lot did. This is also repeated in 3 other places. So yeah, I mean, going over to really, we can see where this attitude's coming from. We can see why the dislike and the distrust for homosexuals is there. But what we don't see in the Western world, which, what we don't see in the Western world and with Western religions is this venomous violence towards the homosexual community, really, which we see in the Muslim world. I mean, I think it's 5 or 6 countries that are, well, the death penalty is applicable for being a homosexual. I don't think there's a single Muslim country where it's not illegal directly, but we can have a look at that now. Bear with me. So yeah, as you can see, I can't type for shit either. So this isn't going too well at the moment. Right, so I'd hate to use the cancerous Wikipedia of the LGBT movement, but I may well have to at some point. So 5 nations where gay is illegal: Mali, Jordan, Indonesia, Turkey, Albania. Right, so this is from something that's probably got a bit of a Muslim slant on it, LGBT Muslims. Rightio, so well, let's look at this. 77 countries where homosexuality is illegal. Eventually my internet will load this up. Hmm. Rightio, so this website is something that I use quite often just to look at sort of information on this side of things, really. So as you can see from the world map here, we've got a really depressing picture fucking showing up, really. So the red areas are where homosexuality is illegal. Varying punishments across the board. Bear with me one moment, guys. So, again, all very common thread here. Religion. We've got Algeria, Angola, Botswana. Jesus Christ. But, again, for the most part, the Christian countries in, obviously, Caribbean countries there, which we expected. But sadly, the largest portion, while obviously certain countries in the Africas are going to be Christian based, I understand, but the vast majority of these illegal countries are sitting slap bang in the Muslim belt, shall we call it. Really, I don't really see how how there's really a great deal to argue about. I mean, I spent the last few days on social media, using Twitter and such like to obviously really network and find out what's going on in regards to the situation, speaking to people. And it's depressing. I mean, excuse my foul language speaking to people, but it gets a bit difficult. But yeah, so as you can see, we've got some apologists here. Shocker, she blocked me. But yeah, it is literally just since obviously this thing's happened in Orlando, we've spent the last 2 days speaking to people in regards to the situation, trying to get some sort of semblance of logical thought out of people, and it's just not happened really. So yeah, I apologise if this video is a little bit all over the place. This is the first time I've ever done anything like this. I am going to continue doing it. I'd like to speak to you all again, and I really do thank you all for joining me today. Many thanks, and I wish you all the best. Stay safe, stay happy, and stay secular.